welcome once again to my Twitch stream, YouTube channel. Please subscribe, please follow Stratus0202 on Twitch, and please follow my YouTube channel as well. For anybody that saw my prior stream on Twitch, my apologies, I hadn't recorded, so I basically have to redo it again because I'm a newbie at this, and yeah, I wasted my time. So I'm going to get back into where I started, make it very condensed, as condensed as I can, because there's a lot of ground to cover in Star Trek Online when it comes to PvP. And this channel and this stream is going to be dedicated to helping people, especially newer people, get acclimated with PvP and understand what it's about, how to build, how to move forward, how to try to counter builds of other builds, so on and so forth. But the biggest problem is that many people want to PvP and don't know where to begin. And since I was one of those people not that long ago, I figured since there was no tutorial, there was no way to find out other than to talk to people, I may as well put out some videos and give everybody a starting point. I want to disclaimer this by saying I am by no means the best PvPer on the planet. I am by no means the best PvPer in my very own fleet, even. Though I consider myself good and I like my builds and I think they're there now, they're getting there. There are people that are better than me, stronger than me, and those are the ones I had to get all my information from to figure out how to go about getting into this and being able to be competitive and not get blown up within 2 seconds every time I stepped into Ker'rat. So, since I didn't have that knowledge and other people gave it to me, I am now going to pass it on to all of you. We're going to start from the basics, from the very beginning, which is characters to choose, factions to choose them from, benefits otherwise of PvP. First thing is, I would say it is easier to build a Klingon tune. A Klingon tune, you're able to get many things in Infinity, Lockbox, choice packs like consoles and traits and such, as to where on the Federation side, you have to actually obtain the ships to get a lot of these things. So for people that don't know, like I didn't when I started doing it, they start, I'm an older guy, old school Star Trek. I want, a Constitution class ship, this and that. And I started with Federation. And by the time I was knees deep, I realized, oh my God, I could have done this so much easier on the Klingon side. So if you're looking to budget build, first thing I'm going to tell you is there really is no budget. Okay, there is no budget build. If you're going to PvP, you're going to have to dip into it. But it is much cheaper and easier to build on the KDF side. And if you learn how to mine and farm dilithium from multiple tunes, you will be able to make a lot of dilithium to convert to Zen, which is money to buy keys and to open boxes and to hopefully get what you get. And if you're in a good fleet with good people, people in your fleet are usually willing to help you out if you're in the right fleet. I want to give a shout out to my fleet at this time. Actually, my fleets that I'm in are Armada, the Starfleet Armada, which is a banging armada with a couple of max level fleets in it. And our KDF fleet's about to go max level, and Mirror Starfleet, which I am currently in, is probably the fastest growing fleet I've ever seen as far as it's time to get everything together. It's already in the 60s. So shout out to those guys, and shout out to everybody that has helped me in the past, that has gotten me to where I said, okay, I can do these videos now. I can help somebody. I can help people that want to get into PvP to at least have a starting point to get in. So without further ado, we're going to get into my first primary tune, Adam T. Black, and we are going to look at characters today. Today is going to be the day to look at your tune and your tune itself's build to be able to PvP. And there are so many different factors into PvP that this is going to probably take a solid 10 half-hour episodes to really cover it. And we're going to have game action in there, and I'm looking to have special guests every episode after this one. Good PvPers, people that know their stuff, people that can, get you different perspective than mine, to have discussions with or whatnot. So this is my main Starfleet tune, Adam T. Black, and he is a Tactical Federation officer. And let's not do that. Let's go look at him. And he is a Terran XB. If they exist here, they exist there. That was my theory behind this tune. But again, I probably would have made for PvP a different tune, probably either a Jim Hadar or a Romulan. Jim Hadar size, which I'm in process of building one, are very strong tunes because their photonic fleets have whatchamacallit, they can sub-nuke you, and sub-nuke is very big in the PvP world. So I would have done it differently, but he's what I got, and he's pretty good, and I've put a lot into him, and we're going to take a look into why he is what he is. Okay, we will start at the basics. The captain skills. Captain skills are very important for PvP. Everything from your traits to your space skills. Ground skills nobody cares about because that's not really, nobody PvPs in that. That's all PvE stuff. But PvP builds are very different than PvE builds. And it starts with your captain. And this is a skill tree build that I got from someone that I trust very much, that, you know, when he got me into this, gave it to me, and I've tinkered with it a little bit, made one or two slight changes, but for the most part, this is the skill tree he gave me, and everything on it makes sense. There's probably one thing I'm looking to change myself, but that's about it. But we're going to go over each piece of this skill tree so you understand why it is what it is. Now, on space skills on your skill tree, more often than not, you don't want to add 3 spaces on any particular thing. Why? Well, I'm going to show you why. If you look on energy weapon training here, the first bonus is plus 50. The second one drops a little to plus 35. The third one is only plus 15. And you can utilize that skill point somewhere else for, say, either 50 or 35 as opposed to 15. And obviously you can add energy weapon damage through training in other ways that is way more significant than what that boost would give. So you have to be careful what you put where. And I highly recommend this skill tree. Energy weapon training 1 and 2. Nothing on the projectile side. Why? Because you don't use projectiles really as any stay of weapon in the PvP world. Now, if you're running an EPG guy and you're running a Psi and you're going to run torpedoes with him, maybe you can get away with it. But let's just say I haven't seen anybody with a serious torpedo build, and I really only know 2 people that use them at all with any effectiveness, and they are still basically beam builds, but their torpedoes are a little decent. But this on the skill tree is a waste, don't bother. Move over to the science side. Shield capacity and improved shield capacity, restoration, improved restoration, they speak for themselves. On the engineering side, this is one of those exceptions to the case where you're going to add 3 points. You're going to add it to hull capacity, improved capacity, and advanced capacity, because you want to beef your hull up. It keeps you from being squishy, keeps you from blowing up faster. If you have good resistances, good hull. We're going to go to Lieutenant Commander section now, as we stay within the engineering section. Electroplasma system flow and improved EPS. Those are important. Full impulse energy shunt is garbage. Don't equip it. Don't waste your time. Impulse expertise and improved impulse expertise. Leave the 3rd slot open. These 3 are very important to be filled out right here in the science section, because PvP is very much about control, buffing, debuffing, not being controlled. So in order to combat these guys and to not get stuck in their gravity wells or by their tractor beams or by their pets, and to make your stuff more effective, control is very important. It also counts in stealth control. So control expertise, improved control expertise, and control amplification, you're all going to fill in. You're going to fill in all the drain expertise, improved drain expertise, and drain infection for the same reason. The same reason being that you don't want to get drained. If you lose your weapons power, your energy power, your engines power, you beat. You're getting blown up. And by the same token, if you're using any of those, you want them to be effective. We're going to move down now to the commander slot. In the commander slot, we have hull plating and energized hull plating. You only need those 2. Ablative plating is only for resistances, as you see, to kinetic and physical. That's not really going to be what you're worried about in the PvP world. But you do want the energized hull plating, which is going to give you plus 100 energized hull plating, totally energy damage resistance rating. Energy damage. Everybody's going to be hitting you with energy damage. You're going to be getting hit by plasma, by phasers, disruptors, anti-proton, whatever it is. So you want these 2 filled in. These 2 are not going to be filled in unless you're an engineer, and I'll show you an engineer at another time. My Klingon is an engineer, and I have a little more damage control on him, and a little less in one or two places. While this skill tree basically stays the same, you do make a change or two. Shield regeneration, improved shield regeneration, shield hardness, improved shield hardness, all speak for themselves. If I have to tell you what it is, you probably shouldn't be playing. Improved weapon amplification and weapon amplification, weapon specialization, improved weapon specialization. Even though we are attacked, we will not do the third slots on this. We will not. And it's because you can get these things at a much higher rate without using a skill point that you're going to need somewhere else. So you only go two. You go for the plus 50 and the plus 15. And that's it, plus 35, not the plus 15. Now we're going to go to the captain section, back over to engineering. Defensive subsystem tuning and offensive subsystem tuning. Gives you some power boost, some engines boost, and this gives you shields and auxiliary systems boost. Exotic particle generator. This is going to be very independent to your build. I currently have two because I started using some temporal abilities on this tune, but I've since stopped and went more the intelligence route, so I'm probably going to take off at least the one, if not the two, and add them to other places, either offensively or defensively. If you're using a Psi, obviously, you will fill all three of these out. If you're a tune that's using any type of temporal abilities, you probably want to have at least two of them. This is one of those exceptions, again, where you are going to add 3 slots. Long-range targeting sensors. What is it for? Well, when you fire at a distance, you get penalized. So if you have a ship at 9.5 kilometers, the penalty is severe as compared to someone being at 3 kilometers. But what filling in these 3 slots does is it lessens that penalty. Here it's 40% less, 30% less, and 20% less. So this is very important to fill all 3 on this end. And then we go over to the attack side. We have hull penetration, improved hull penetration, improved shield pen, and shield pen. Shield pen speaks for itself. Now this is a very minimal amount down here, and as important as shield pen is, I don't recommend you waste a point on here because you're getting less than 1% for this addition here. Alright, so you're talking bleed through of basically 0.75%, less than 1%. While shield pen is very important, you can get more of that from things like the Lorca console, so don't bother, keep that blank. And now we're going to go to the Admiral section, which most people are going to think for attack is strange. Tactical readiness is the only thing I have. 1 part of it even, not even 2. Maybe when I pull those 2 parts off exotic particle, I'll put 1 on here. But I have other boosts to speed up my tactical bridge officers and my captain, so I'm not as concerned with getting that. No need for coordination protocols. You're not running fighters in PvP, and if you are, they're just more distraction than they are a weapon. And unless you're really going to jump in the deep end of the pool, and when I say deep end of the pool, you're going to get everything you can for fighters, every trait, everything. Don't even bother putting anything into this. Let them be a distraction. Let them be a nuisance. If you have the mirror guys with tractor beams, they tend to be a good distraction unless you're fighting escorts, which you will be most of the time because the escorts are too fast. And shield mastery. This is a waste. Why is this a waste? Well, because most of these clowns can get through shields. So while shields are good, they're not something you want to invest in this stuff heavily in. You can get other shield bonuses elsewhere. Like I'm using emergency shields, shield overload, which I'll show you after, and there's no point to wasting points in that. Scientific readiness, do you want it? Yes, you do want 2 points in it because science team in PvP is very important. You want to be able to execute it. You want to be able to kill debuffs, jam targeting sensors or scramble sensors, same thing. You want to be able to use it. It keeps you from getting popped as often, and especially in this case, I'm running an Intel ship with an Exodus build. Even though it's not a severe Exodus build, it's not a dedicated Exodus build. If it gives me a little improvement to be able to engage my jam targeting sensors, then so be it. Engineering readiness, I'll go 1 point on that, don't need 2. And then we have warp core potential, warp core efficiency. Leave off the improved warp core potential because the bonus isn't worth it. And from competitive engines and everything else that you're going to get, it's just a wasted point. So that is how my skill tree looks. Now, in order to understand a skill tree, you have to understand sometimes what makes what work. Okay? And we're going to go look rates. And everything ties in together. So some of these traits tie into your skill tree, some of these tie into your crew stations, some tie into your specializations a little bit. You know, if you look here, some of these things I use as mainstays, some are fluid depending on who I'm fighting, where I'm fighting them, how many of them am I fighting. But constants, I can tell you, are advanced hull reinforcements. That doesn't change. Enhanced rending shots doesn't change, because that increases your critical hit. Oops, sorry guys. That increases your critical hit chance by 1.9% per non-critical hit. So if you miss, for some reason, a critical hit on 10 consecutive shots, you're going to be jumped up 19 points in your critical chance. This will be situational depending on who I'm fighting, where I'm fighting, and this is pretty much a mainstay. Advanced targeting systems for 20% critical severity. Critical severity is very important. If you're playing STO, you know how important it is. So that's just a quick overview of traits. When you get to personal space traits, again, there are some things that are must-haves. Context for Kings, must-have. Pseudo-submission, must-have. Smuggler's Luck is a little bit of a personal choice. I kind of like it. I've noticed it's effective. I do recommend it. Some people have told me, it's not all that great. Use X, Y, and Z instead. I kind of like it. I notice when I take it off, I'm a little, I blow up a little quicker. Good day to die. Depends on who you talk to. Depends on what they say. I love it. Why do I love it? Because a good day to die ties in with last-ditch effort via go-down fighting. Captain skill for a tactical. So you're basically getting a three-way bang here for all three of these things working together. For good day to die, last-ditch effort, and go-down fighting, which should be on your wheel. I'll show it to you real quick. It is right here, go-down fighting. Takes off the harness off it where it won't execute to 50%. I think a little known secret people don't realize is that this is plus 50% bonus even if you haven't lost hull with those three. If you don't have a good day to die on, you can't execute this unless you're at 50% hull. Once it executes, then you get the 50% bonus. But with a good day to die active, you get the bonus immediately, and it increases with hull loss. I have checked this. This is correct. So, that's looking at those. We'll go back over here now. And we were at Captain Skills, and we were talking about all this stuff. Ground stuff, that's very subjective. There's no real PvP ground, so nobody cares. So do what you gotta do with it. Have fun with it. Go enjoy your TFOs, blow things up, right? Specializations. Specializations are very important. What you use is determined by your captain, your ship, what you want to do. Some things are mainstays. Some things people flirt with. For me, Miracle Worker is a mainstay. Miracle Worker, to me, I think is the best specialization overall. Gets you most bang for your buck. It's always about healing. It's about resto, and that's important in this. Another very popular one, which I use as well, is Strategist. I'll usually start all battles with this. I will go into it with this. But depending on who I'm fighting, I may change. Constable gives you a lot of abilities up here if you look at it. Singular Focus, Subdue, that's bonus control ability. Bonus control ability for improve then. In the bottom end here, you have bonus all damage versus an antagonist. 25% of hull healing to antagonists is applied to you instead. So in other words, if he hits his hull healing, you're getting 25% of it. So there's some good things there. Pilot's good, tends to be good in an escort ship, a very fast ship. It gives you more speed, more turnability. Intelligence officer is good for defense. And there's a lot of abilities in there for stealth and to knock people's resistances down. So again, this becomes a little more subjective. I highly recommend Miracle Worker. Command Officer is okay too. It's more of a tanky thing. If you're running a tank command officer, is something good. Gives you a nice hull bonus. It gives you some good abilities, some good damage bonus. So again, subjective when it comes to this on your tune. And now we're going to go quickly look at crew stations. Crew stations will be covered when we cover boss more, which will be in a future episode. But I just want to show you the tie-in for some of the abilities and traits I was talking about. Okay, so If you look here, this intelligence officer slash TAC officer. He's using intelligence team 1 and 2. Intelligence team 1 and 2, look what it gives you. Targeting stealth for 9 seconds of almost 4,500, 50% less threat generation, and defense rating. Now, if I go back to my traits, and this is what's called an Exodus build. Exodus executes with intelligence team, adding another 514.2 stealth for 20 seconds, bringing it up to 5,000. Plus 15% bonus weapon damage for 20 seconds. That is big. Plus 40 starship control expertise. That is important too. So when using an intelligence build, this is called an Exodus build. You use intelligence and Exodus. But I don't personally dedicate any other consoles or anything to it to enhance the Exodus. I just use it as a tool. Some people buy all in and they start using stealth consoles and things like that. I don't think that's all necessary, and I really think that we can just ship, but that is my opinion. So we will go back to where we just were, which is crew stations. Okay, now as I was telling you about your setup with your traits, we're going to go again with a starship trait that we use here called preferential targeting. And you see how this setup is. We have tactical team, cannon, scatter, volley, and beam overload. Well, the big question that someone with logic would ask is, well, why are you using cannon scatter volley on a beam build? Why are you doing that? Well, I'm going to show you why. So we're going to go back to the skills here. Preferential targeting. After using beam fire at will or cannon scatter volley, 100% damage to beams on beam overload and cannon rapid fire. Now, the question which I asked when I started playing was, why wouldn't you use fire at will instead? Because the fire at will is taking damage away from the beam overload. So you use cannon scatter volley to proc the beam overload. It activates it, you get the bonus damage, you're not wasting energy and weapons power on the fire at will, but you're still getting the proc, so your beam overload is at full strength. And that is why we do that. We're going to go back here again to crew stations and discuss these with starship traits. You'll see on this nice cute little engineer here, I got emergency powered shields, right? And you look at the stats of it, it's not that great. 1,325.3 shield regen. Plus shield power, 20, blah, blah, blah. Plus 18% shield resistance. Okay, it's not great though, right? But, however, if you run it with shield overload, emergency powered shields activate shield overload, plus 75 all damage resistance rating for 30 seconds, plus 75% shield resistance for 30 seconds. Effects decrease drastically every 5 seconds, so as your shields goes down, the effect wears off, but it is a very good defensive weapon. So it is something that I utilize on a very frequent basis. Okay. And you'll see there's other things here. Other must-haves: RSP3, reverse shield polarity, and need that escapability, emergency-powered engines, and some of this stuff ties into duty officers too, which we will also cover in a future episode, because there's just so much to freaking do that it's going to take 10, 15, maybe even 20 episodes to cover a lot of this. Now, over the course of these episodes, we're going to have some fun too. We're going to have some fighting with our guests. We're going to show you some explosions, some good things like that. But it's really to, again, help people get more familiar with the ability to PvP. I know when I first started, I got blown up very easy. It was very frustrating, but I'm a very competitive person, so as opposed to saying I'm not doing that crap anymore, I wanted to figure out how to do that crap, and I went and did that crap, and now I do all this crap. So that's about it, guys. So that's my first episode, which covered a tune. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you want to hit me up on Xbox One, the gamer tag is Stratus0202. If you'd like to subscribe to my Twitter channel, please, again, Stratus0202. And please subscribe to my YouTube page. Watch my videos. Enjoy them. I'm going to try to have fun as I go along with this. Forget about it. I'm the Brooklyn Gamester. I'm Stratus0202. Thank you, and have a good day.